We take a deep dive into Kenya's economy 3 years into President William Ruto's leadership. While inflation has eased and the shilling stabilized, many Kenyans say their daily lives have become harder. NTV's Sylvia Kadhoni interrogates the numbers and the human stories behind the highs and lows of Ruto's bottom-up economic agenda.
3 years into President William Ruto's leadership, the cost of living remains the top of mind of many Kenyans. We take a closer look at the numbers and the lived realities shaping Kenya's economy under Ruto's presidency. The economy has grown steadily but unevenly. In 2022, when the president first took office, the GDP growth was at 4.8%. The growth peaked at 5.7% in 2023 before slowing again last year to 4.7%, raising concerns about long-term resilience.
There's been an improvement in agriculture. The worst performing sector is the industrials. This is manufacturing, construction. There's a bit of some decline in the industrial sector. And then we have, of course, our services being resilient. So that's pretty much the picture from the supply side.
Inflation has fallen sharply from a high of over 9% in 2022 to a 4.5% today. But for many Kenyan households, prices of basic commodities remain painfully high, with the majority of Kenyans struggling to make ends meet. Last year's finance bill ignited a firestorm across the country, sparking nationwide protests and deepening the rift between the government and the public. Proposals such as VAT on bread and motor vehicle circulation tax were seen as direct attacks on struggling households. The backlash was so intense that the president eventually withdrew the bill entirely, a rare move that underscored political cost of aggressive tax measures.
It's hard surviving, especially in Nairobi. It's very hard because everything has hiked, the prices of food. Whatever we were buying in 2022, which was 100 shillings, now it's 123. But when you look at the other side of the equation, in terms of affordability, incomes are actually going down, right? So incomes are not rising as fast as inflation is rising.
This year's bill took a softer tone, with fewer tax hikes and more focus on tightening compliance. Changes included new VAT rules, extended tax refund timelines, and expanded KRA access to taxpayers' data, aiming to raise about 40 billion shillings, down sharply from 315 billion last year.
Ahadi zake zijatimia kwa sababu ya kusumbuliwa na hawa Kenya. But kwa maono mimi naona angepewa chance, yani angepewa that free time, waone waache kumgoroga. Unajua the more anamgoroga huku na huku, ndio pesa zinatumika sana, economic inaendelea kuwa juu.
You know, Kenyans wanted instant because the promises he promised, and some of them were ambitious. Some of the promises that the president did were over-ambitious, we'll say. Like he never knew what he was going to face. Now, when coming in, reality hit him.
The shilling's wild swing defined Ruto's first year in office, crossing the 150 mark for the first time. The rate went as high as 161 by January 2024 and reduced to 130 in May 2024 before stabilizing to 129.
We need to make sure that our export, our current account, which means what we're importing and what we're exporting, is stabilized. If there's too much volatility, you know, what I could buy with my dollar becomes, what I could buy with the shillings that I have actually becomes much less, because if I can't import things, I can't import as much as I used to.
3 years into President Ruto's term, the government's biggest challenge remains closing the gap between what it collects and what it owes. Since 2022, public debt has grown by more than 1 trillion shillings, while revenue collection has only increased by 431 billion shillings. The imbalance has fueled tax hikes that many Kenyans say are making life harder.
Any country, there must be taxes. Those taxes must be there for this country to develop. Unlike the government that was there previously, we could borrow money outside. But what we are doing in this government that we are having right now, it is raiding our own money, and our own taxes are the ones that are now constructing the country.
Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi announced sweeping of e-procurement reforms last year, aiming to digitize tender processes, curb corruption, and seal revenue leaks in public spending.
They're quite vocal in terms of what they're doing. So you can sense that there's some independence in that, because he's not one to be pushed over easily.
The challenge now remains turning economic reforms into tangible change for millions of households. A promise that, for now, still feels out of reach. Sylvia Kadhoni, NTV Business, Nairobi.